Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Happy New Year, and this is the inspiration for creating this video for you today, because if this is the year that you really want to begin practicing in earnest how to use the law of attraction, how to yield its power, how to yield your own power as a conscious creator, and you want to start consciously manifesting and bringing in the desires that you want into your reality, then this is the video to watch, because I'm going to take you through how I would start from scratch. If I had just discovered the law of attraction, if I had just discovered this idea of manifesting and the fact that I'm a powerful creator and that like attracts like, what I focus on is what I bring into my reality. If I just come across all of these crazy ideas and wanted to start putting this into practice in my own life and seeing actual results, then these are the things that I would do. So if you're new to my channel, hello, I'm Josephine Snowling. You're very, very welcome here. And my channel is all about helping you to consciously create the reality that you desire. So let's jump straight into it. And the first thing that I have for you, and this is probably going to come as a bit of a shock, but stay with it until the end, okay? So the first thing that I would do, bearing in mind it's the start of a new year, so I'm imagining that you've probably got some New Year's resolutions or some intentions or some aspirations, some goals that you want to achieve, that you want to, desires that you want to bring forth into your reality for this new year. And that's great, that's fantastic. But what I would recommend is that any of those goals that are on your kind of big list, and I'll talk a bit more of what I mean about big in a minute. So anything like the big manifestations, like the dream house, the £1 million, $1 million, like, the massive abundance that you are wanting to bring into your life, the relationship, the career, the car, whatever it is, those really big desires that a lot of us do have. I would recommend that you park those desires for the time being. And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. So we're not getting rid of them. We're not saying there's anything wrong with those desires at all. We're just going to park them. So if you really want to, write them down, make a list of all those big aspirations that you want to bring into your reality, and just park them for now. And the reason why I suggest that you do that is because if you're just starting out with the law of attraction, one of the things that you really need to understand is that in order to consciously create the reality that you desire, belief and trust in this process, belief especially, that there is a law called the law of attraction, that it does govern this reality and this world that we live in. Belief plays a massive, massive role in that. And so what can happen is if you focus on those big aspirations and they don't start to show up in your reality, you don't start to receive any evidence that they are showing up in your reality, what can happen is that you start to lose belief in the whole process, in the whole concept. Because you watch these videos where people say, I manifested the dream house, I manifested the dream career. And yes, completely, of course you can do that. But I guarantee those people probably didn't just jump straight to that in their journey. And this is why it's a good idea just to park those aspirations for now. Because what you want to focus on is you want to start building your own evidence base that the law of attraction is an actual thing, that manifesting what you focus on is an actual thing. Because the more evidence you can bring into your own reality, the stronger your belief system is. And the stronger your belief system is, then when you can bring those smaller things in, you start to then believe you can bring the bigger things in. Now, I just want to add a caveat to that as well for any of you watching who have been consuming a lot of law of attraction information for a long time, especially people like Abraham Hicks. And I want to quote Abraham Hicks here in saying that there is no difference, there is no physical, no energetic difference between manifesting those perceived larger aspirations to there is manifesting a parking space in your desired spot or finding a £10 note on the floor. There is no difference. The only difference is your perception that one is easier to achieve than the other. So I'm not saying that there is any difference in those bigger aspirations that you have, that you want to call in. The only difference is you have to kind of work around your own hurdle of your belief systems. So instead of focusing on those big, large aspirations, start to see if there's again, perceived smaller things that you can start to play around with the law of attraction with. So it could be something like a parking space. It could be that you go to work each day and you want to manifest the ideal parking space. It's in the right place. It comes available. Something like that is, again, I don't want to say achievable, but from a belief system achievable. Okay. And really have fun with this. Okay. This is where you're testing your own mental capability and your belief in the law of attraction, and you're testing the law of attraction. Get it to work for you, okay, so that you can really start to understand that it is a real thing, that you can manifest those things into your life. So I'll take you through a little story of mine when I was first starting out and how I played around with this, because the more fun you can have as well, the better it gets. Like fun, it's a high vibration, enjoyment, fun, pleasure. That is what we want, okay? We don't want to make this a scientific experiment, but it's a good way to start building your evidence. So I had an example of this where I was like, okay, I'm going to start with some small things. I'm going to start with some things that I think are achievable. So I tried the parking space. I tried things like, so I went out to have lunch with my daughters, and I wanted it to be an easy day, and I kind of just set some intentions of how I wanted to feel and how I wanted the day to flow. But I added, on that particular day when I was trying this out, I added one extra thing, and I just picked something at random, and I said, I want to see a cluster of blue butterflies. Now, at the time, we were living in England, and we do have blue butterflies in England, but we certainly don't have regular clusters of butterflies hanging around. It's not really the sort of place where that happens. So I was sort of aware I was not going to see this physically, out on a walk or something. But I wanted to test the universe. I was like, I want to see a cluster of blue butterflies. How am I going to see this? And so I sort of just forgot about it, really, which is the best thing you can do. And another reason why those big manifestations, those big aspirations, we struggle to bring them in because we focus on them so much, and we don't have to. I think that's another myth that we can bust here, is that you don't have to continually focus on something in order to call it into your reality. And actually what can happen is, if you remove your focus from it, if you've got a kind of icky vibration going on with it, so with those big aspirations, say you want to call in the dream house, but your current house is nowhere near your dream aspiration for a house. So what can happen is, the more you focus on that big aspiration, unless you're in a place of trust with it, unless you believe it's coming and you're excited about it coming and you can feel that it's on the horizon and it's just finding its way to you, unless you are in a place with it when you think about your big aspiration, what tends to happen is that you focus on the big aspiration, then you view your current reality, and what happens is you actually end up sitting in a vibration of lack, because you're making a direct comparison between your current reality and the reality that you desire. So this is why sometimes focusing on those big aspirations is not going to bring them any quicker, because your focus is, although you're focusing on the thing that you want, it's how you feel when you focus on it. So when you focus on that, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling lack, if you're feeling depressed that, when is this going to come into my reality, then it's not going to happen, or it's not going to happen very quickly, because the vibration that you're actually emitting is not one that is on, you're not on the same vibrational scale as the desire that you want to bring in. So back to the blue butterflies. So I carried on with that. I carried on my day, and I sort of just forgot about it, really. And what happened was, we got home from going out to a cafe, and I was in a really good place. I was having a really good day. I was having lots of fun with my girls. And I just got this inspiration to put a film on. And we went on to Disney, and I was like, okay, let's watch Frozen 2. We hadn't seen it, and I knew that it was something that my daughters would be into. So we put it on and we started watching it. And I can still remember the moment that this happened. And there's a particular scene in it, if you've seen it, where one of the characters, he's singing a song, and he opens a basket, and out from the basket flies a cluster of blue butterflies. And in that moment, those are the moments that you want to try and find, because it was in that moment that I was starting to become aware, and I was starting to believe that I really can create my own reality. And it was so unexpected. It was one of those goosebump moments. So have a play with this yourself. This would be one of my top tips. Start building your evidence base, because it's little things like that you start to, and it's as well, it's not a coincidence. I had a couple of times with car parking spaces and things where I was like, yeah, that was probably just a coincidence. There is no coincidences, by the way. But when you're new to that, you start to think, oh, well, it is just a coincidence. But there's moments like I had with the blue butterflies where you realize that wasn't a coincidence. It feels different. And there's this inner knowing that it brings forth that you created that. You brought that into your own reality. So pick random things like blue butterflies. We try and find really odd coloured cars and things like that, and just really have fun with it, because the more of that stuff that comes in, the more your belief strengthens around the law of attraction, around manifestation, and the fact that you can consciously create your own reality. So try that one. The next thing that I recommend that you begin to do is start to become conscious of your emotions. And it doesn't have to go any further than that in the beginning. So as I was saying before around your big aspirations, what a lot of the time happens is you're unconscious about the emotion you're feeling when you think about things. So you think, oh, well, but this is the dream house, this is the dream career, this is the dream relationship. I'm focusing on it. But if you're not paying attention to the emotion and the feeling that's happening underneath that, then you're kind of missing the whole point of how this works. So just start to become conscious throughout the day of how you feel. And you don't need to try and alter it. It's just the start of the process. So if you feel angry, just say to yourself, I feel angry right now. And then you can move on. Or I feel happy, I feel joyous, I feel sad, I feel insecure, whatever it is that you're feeling. If you can just call it out in your head and just name it, that is the basis for beginning to create your own reality. Because once you start to become conscious of how you feel in each moment, that is when you are able to shift it. And I wouldn't even try and begin to shift it to begin with. You don't have to do that. But the more you become conscious, the more you can kind of stop that momentum as well. So if you're feeling frustrated and you're unconscious about it, you will just continue that momentum. You will just keep carrying on in that way. But sometimes just noticing, I feel really frustrated right now, is enough to slow the momentum down of the thoughts that are making you feel frustrated. So just start a daily practice. Even if you just say, right, for 5 minutes of the day, I'm going to just be really aware of how I feel. It's a really great start, okay? So start to become conscious of your emotions and how you feel. The next thing is, and I say this in all my videos, start to build a gratitude practice. Now, this doesn't have to be anything that's, long-winded. It doesn't have to be something that you have to take extra time out of your day to do. It can be as simple as maybe tagging it onto a small routine that you currently do. So a really nice one is when you brush your teeth. You don't tend to do much else when you brush your teeth. And it's a really nice, if you brush your teeth for like 2 minutes, especially if you've got one of those like electric toothbrushes, it's a really great like little timer. Just spend 2 minutes a day focusing on what you're grateful for. And the reason for this is because the more you find in your reality to be grateful for, the more the universe will bring you things to be grateful for. And gratitude as well is a really good high vibration. So again, it doesn't have to be big things to be grateful for. It can be small, tiny little things like, I'm grateful that it's a sunny day and not a cloudy day. It doesn't have to be, I'm grateful for world peace. It doesn't have to be on this large, huge scale. And I think actually the smaller, the better, because it's more realistic. It's more reachable. So just start to go about your day and just notice little things that you're grateful for and just call them out. Call them out in your head and say, I'm really grateful for this. I am grateful this happened. I'm appreciative of this. Or I celebrate this. That's another really good vibration to get into. Celebration. What are you celebrating? What has come into your reality that you're celebrating? How do you feel? Is that something to celebrate about? How can you celebrate others? It's all really good practice for getting yourself into the right vibration that calls in those bigger desires. We want to start raising our vibrations so that we can bring in those larger manifestations. And all manifestations, whether they're large, small, whatever, we want to call them into our reality. So focus on gratitude. And that sums it up really. So park those big aspirations. Just park them. They will come in, but you've got to park them. Focus on the smaller, more obtainable aspirations, desires that you can bring in. Is there a new piece of clothing that you want to buy? Do you want to redecorate a room in your house? Do you want to try a new food? Those kind of small little things that are reachable for, but also throw in some things to play around with it, like the blue butterflies, like finding a pink car. A pink car is a good one. There's not many pink cars on the road, although there is once you start focusing on it. But those sorts of things, think of something fun and imaginative that you want to see in your reality, that you want to enjoy as part of your experience of this reality. Focus on gratitude. Start building a gratitude practice into your day, as well as focusing on your emotions. And with these 4 things, it can get you off to a really amazing start with using the law of attraction. And if you want more inspiration on how you can consciously create your own reality, then make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and share it with anybody else who's also looking to really get into the practice this year of understanding how this universe works, understanding how we work as individuals, and stepping up into our own empowerment to consciously create the reality that we desire. I will see you in the next video. Have a beautiful day, whatever it is you are doing, and take care.